All right, 3 o'clock, we start in the NFL. Bo Nix finished his first game in the preseason with 125 yards on 15 of 21 passing, leading the Broncos to 4 scoring drives against the Colts. He'll get the start Sunday when the Broncos host the Packers, kickoff at 5 on NFL Network. Elsewhere, Hassan Reddick has requested a trade from the Jets. In response, the team said they have no intention of honoring his request. Reddick is seeking a new deal after being acquired in a deal from the Eagles. Deshaun Watson will start in the Browns' preseason finale. On the diamond, the Mariners have won 4 straight. They sit tied atop the AL West with the Houston Astros. Seattle will kick off a 9-game road trip starting tomorrow in Detroit. That first pitch at 3:40. Mookie Betts has been activated off the DL after missing 2 months with a broken hand. He'll rejoin the Dodgers. AP poll is out, just like the coaches poll. Oregon ranked number 3 by the press behind Ohio State and Georgia. Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad is coming up next. Brian Noe at 4:20, and we go to Denver at 5:20. All right, Rip City Drive, Dwight and Chad. We're very happy to be with you on this Monday and a big show today. We'll talk a lot of football coming off a full weekend of preseason action that saw the rookie quarterbacks getting a chance to showcase what they can do. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio, will join Dwight and I coming up at 4:20. And at 5:20, we'll head to Denver to talk with Ryan Edwards of 850 KOA for a Bo Nix update. The Broncos getting the job done yesterday, and Bo Nix showcasing his abilities quite well, I thought, for Sean Payton and company. So we got a lot to get to. In fact, we'll get to the Broncos and Bo Nix coming up at 3:20. If you want to join us, you can do so on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and just pull up our homepage, Rip City Radio. You'll find the link to all of our live shows right there, including the Rip City Drive. You can check us out in studio, take part in the chat, and also make sure to click and subscribe. We also have our episode from Friday up there where you can check out our hour-long conversation with Anthony Simons. It was really nice to see Ant, Godfather, in studio along with his mom and the rest of his family. What a good young man he is, and what a basketball player he's become. But I like him because he's very unassuming for big-time talent. I appreciate him.
Yes, he has the required modesty, humility, and I think sensitivity of someone who is not a big star, but he's on his way to becoming a big star. And that's the first time I'd met his parents, and that was a big pleasure too. And you can see why Anthony Simons turned out so well. Parents, very nice people.
No question about it. We want to remind you about his inaugural Top Golf Invitational, which is coming up August 28th, which also happens to be my birthday. If you'd like to take part in that, Anthony's going to be out there, and it's to raise money for his foundation, bealight.org. So if you want to join and take part in his Top Golf Invitational, just reach out to Tamika Simons. You can email tsimons at b-a-light.org, or you can make a phone call, 407-383-5021. That's 407-383-5021. And the proceeds will benefit Anthony's foundation, bealight.org. But that Top Golf Invitational is coming up on August 28th, and he will be out there and have a chance to play golf, have a good time for a great cause. And I know you like Top Golf.
Yeah.
You played a lot of golf this weekend. In fact, you're suffering from what I'm always concerned about is making sure that my back is right, but apparently your back is not right today. You're struggling.
I'm struggling. Absolutely am, Chad. I can't get comfortable. I just keep squirming around trying to find a spot that makes it feel better. But you know what? The good thing about having a backache is then you don't notice that your foot hurts and your elbow hurts and you got a headache and all that other stuff. It's just the back you're concerned about. So it's a little redirection.
I'm so worried about my back because I play so much golf. I have to make sure that my back is right so I can have proper movement. So my chiropractor is such a cool dude. He lives not far from where I do in Vancouver. And he took a leave of absence from the joint. And I was like, dude, what am I going to do? He's like, well, you can come and see me at my house if you'd like. I'm like, well, I would like that. And the best part is he's got this sweet backyard with a garden and he's got a few chickens. So every time I go over, not only do I get an adjustment, but like this time around, I got fresh green beans from his garden, some fresh tomatoes, and he always gives me eggs. And all I can say is, I grew up in Oklahoma. We had chickens. Getting eggs from chickens that lay the eggs on site and then eating them, it's not even close to anything you get in the grocery store. It is truly mind-blowing. And so I know that my mom loves those as well because she grew up in the country. So anytime I go over to see Dr. Mitch, I always get 2 dozen, one for mom and one for myself, and then we're dialed in.
It turns out he's giving you a free massage pretty much.
Pretty much. But that's what my weekend was about was I got the haircut. My hair grows too fast during the summertime, so I called.
Your hair grows faster in the summer?
Sunlight actually causes your hair to grow faster. I know that this is not a problem you're familiar with.
I need a sun lamp is what I need.
So I spent my time running around mostly for my kids. So my daughter, she goes to Maui. She gets back. Then she goes to the Olivia Rodrigo concert. That was a education unto itself. Had no idea who Olivia Rodrigo was. I just know she's big with the girls, right? Mm-hmm. So I checked her out, listened to some songs. Not my type of music. From what I can glean, she's fairly attractive for a younger lady. But she was putting on the show at the Moda. So my daughter and a couple of the girls were going to the concert together. Some mom was going to take them. And so she spent hours getting dressed with.
Do they have to go in costume? Is that one of those?
It's pretty much you go with a certain dress in mind. And she did. So she asked my opinion on should I go with this or should I go with that? I gave my input. She always knows my deal. I'm like, look, if you ask me a question or you want my opinion, I will give you an honest take. You do what you want to do, but I'm going to always give you an honest take. So I did that. Had a great time at the concert. Then she went to the fair yesterday, and then this morning she got up, and now she's off to summer camp. So her life is totally active, and all I am in the middle of that is a taxi service from point A to point B to point C to wherever she needs to go. But I wanted to share this with you because you told me you've experienced this before. I had to go through the routine of picking up the girls from the fair last night, which is a disaster because the traffic around the fairgrounds off the charts. So I pick them up, and then we're heading back home, and they're like, we're hungry. And I'm like, well, you didn't eat at the fair? We did, but we're hungry now. So they wanted Domino's. So I pull into the Domino's parking lot, and I walked in to place an order for pickup. They're quick. It took like 10 minutes. But I come back out to my car, and I've got, Kaylee and her friend in there. And there's a cop with one of those jumbo flashlights where he's got it on and he's like looking through my windows.
Like for contraband?
Yeah, I guess. My windows are illegally tinted. So at first I thought, he's checking out the tint on my windows.
I noticed that about your windows. Yeah.
I did. I asked the person who tinted them, I said, I know that this number is legal. What number can I go to that's just over the line? And he told me, and I went with that because I wanted illegally tinted windows. So I got that done. Well, the guy looks at me when I walk up to my car. He goes, is this your Toyota? I said, yeah, yes, sir. And he said, well, we've had reports of this car drunk driving. And I'm like, what? I looked at him and I said, well, I'm as sober as you can possibly imagine. He looked at me and goes, I can tell that you are. Have a good night. And then he left.
Good.
So I don't know what was going on. I don't know which nosy person decided to call 911 on me, but apparently my car was reported as potential drunk driving. That's a classic right there. I don't drink. But you said that's happened to you before. Someone that maybe they recognized me after I heard your story.
Yeah, it was intentional in my case, I'm sure. I was coming back from an Oregon State football game, and a guy pulled up next to me, and I could tell the people in the car recognized who I was because they were like, you can always tell that. Guys, oh, yeah. And that one guy was pointing at everything. So I thought, well, I'll be cool, and I give him a little wave, and the guy responds to my wave with a single-digit finger. So I don't think these guys they're not fans of mine. So anyway, I drive another 10 miles down the road, and there's flashing lights behind me, and I pull over and I always get out of the car, even on a freeway. You're not supposed to. I get out of the car because I was told by a cop likes to be able to see that you're not armed, that you're not carrying anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought they might get pissed off if you get out of your car, like you're trying to approach them or get aggressive or something.
No, well, come on. If you do it in a menacing manner, they might. But if you get out and just kind of softly walked toward him. And anyway, he said, sir, we got a phone call saying that there was a drunk driver in this car. I said, well, it's not me, and I'm the only one in the car. I don't drink. And the guy said, yeah, you look fine to me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So I just got back in the car and drove off. But
That's a classic.
yeah, and
Someone's like, hey, I hate The Godfather. Let's call him
that's right.
in.
Those guys. I know it's stunning to think that maybe a sports fan of some nature would not like me, but yeah, it happens once in a while. And the guy apparently thought he was going to get revenge by doing that.
Must have been a Clyde Drexler fan holding sour grapes from one of your columns back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a pretty good prank, though.
Yeah, you never thought of that, right?
That's pretty good. I might do that to LeBron if I passed him.
Oh, God.
I might.
Yeah, well, he would deserve it, given his recent behavior.
Or, yeah, just like he told that poor young child overseas, back the F up. I've got to go celebrate my gold medal.
Yeah, he's walking into a club.
Yeah.
Those guys they went out and celebrated after the game in the clubs with their medals on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, really?
Pretty solid. No, it's pretty solid. I have to admit, Steph Curry was dynamite against France. Dynamite.
Unbelievable.
And Steph Curry, without him, I don't think they win gold. All I know is that the last two games, games 5 and 6, he was unconscious. And what he did against France was truly amazing. And I just continue to shake my head at this smallish guard who has taken over the game with his ability to shoot. And I still can't believe that when he came out of college, the question marks were about his ankles.
Yeah.
That seems like a lifetime ago. His ankles have never been an issue. He's remained incredibly healthy, and he's one of the all-time superstars and shooters in this league. He was unreal, Godfather, ripping out the hearts of France.
Yeah, pretty much the best shooter that ever lived, I think. Now, it won't always be that way because people are working so much more on shooting now. I'm sure there'll be another guy come along. What's special about him, too, is I think for people watching NBA basketball, he's a normal-sized human being. Now, he is taller than people think he is because he's out there with all those giants.
Yeah.
And, he's over 6 feet. He's like 6'2" or 3, probably. I think 6'3". So when you see him, when I see him, he's taller than me, but you see him on the basketball court, this is not a big man. He's a normal-sized human being, and he's getting all these great things done. And what he did. And I follow Raymond Ritter, and Ray. He's the PR guy for the Warriors.
Yep.
And somebody was saying, has Steph ever done this before? And Raymond, of course, goes all the way back. One time has he ever hit 4 threes in the last 2 minutes and change of a game. And that was in a playoff game, and he did it one other time. But it's such a rarity for anybody to hit 4 threes inside of the final 2 minutes of a game. And the last one was such a special shot.
It was awesome. Steve Kerr talking about Curry's work ethic. This is special.
Just the consistency of his routine. It's like a metronome. I mean, every day it's the exact same thing. He's in the training room. He's in the weight room. He's on the court. And there's, it's clockwork, but there's also a sense of joy and energy within that work. He enjoys it so much. He loves the process. And I think that's one of the things that ties all great athletes together. Like, I'm talking about the superstar athletes, Roger Federer's of the world. Steph Curry's of the world. There's a routine that is not only super disciplined, but it's really enjoyed each day. There's a passion that comes with it, and that's what sustains it over time. And when you love something like those guys do, you work at it, you get better, and you keep going.
And that's what it comes down to. It's the work ethic. And
yeah,
after being around Curry for a couple of years, he's one of the most humble global superstars that I've ever encountered. There's few people I've ever come across in sport that are like Steph Curry. He's unique. His work ethic is second to none, and he is a great player and the best shooter I've ever seen. And he put that on display in the Olympics. When his team needed him most, he was on fire.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. He is a great combination of, the genes were right with him. His father was a great NBA shooter.
Yes.
Yeah, not like Steph, but a great.
He was
but
great.
when you take that kind of thing, that genetic thing you might be born with, and then you put hundreds of thousands of hours of practice in on it, that's the level you reach.
This is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
impressive.
unbelievable.
Now, knowing Steve Kerr, he'll have to go back and apologize to LeBron for not referencing LeBron when he was talking about the superstar athletes. Yeah. But that was a special moment for Curry, and Team USA got it done. They don't have the time together. They don't have the work together, but they've got the talent and the depth, and Steve Kerr and company got the job done. Props to Kerr and his crew for getting the guys ready, and then when they had to step up and deliver in the clutch, whether it be against France or Serbia or take your pick, South Sudan, they got the job done. And I credit them for their work and the way they were able to find a way to get it done without that continuity that we talked about prior to the Olympics beginning.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question, Chad. The last two games, they don't win without Steph Curry. I really believe that. I mean, when they needed shots, he made shots.
Yeah.
And that's really been the story of his career.
Yeah. And in this competition, international competition, we talked about this before the games began for real. Shot making was going to be the difference maker.
Yeah.
And it was. The Americans hit shots when they had to. The other teams who were in competition did not, and that turned out to be the difference. And Steph Curry can make shots better than anyone.
Yeah.
That was a sizzling hot moment. We'll hear from Steph, who had some comments on IG. You could tell how happy he was. And then also we'll get to the French call on Steph Curry going crazy, where they were calling him the devil. It's great. It's classic.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. But when we come back, we got to talk some football. What a day it was for Bo Nix. How about that, Godfather?
That's all you could have asked for, Chad. I don't know how you could have expected much more than that.
It was a pleasant Sunday morning watching Bo Nix handle the football for the Broncos.
The Dewey household was feeling real good on Sunday morning.
Even my dad placed a phone call to me. He said, you know what, this season might be kind of fun watching Bo Nix. I'm like, you might be onto something there, Dad. Good call. We'll get to that next. Brian Noe at 4:20. We'll head to Denver, talk to Ryan Edwards at 5:20. It's Dwight and Chad. You got the Rip City Drive. All right, Godfather, I got to play this for you.
Thank you.
An Indianapolis Colts fan, before the Bronco game yesterday, put out his theme song for the Colts, and this is what it sounded like.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Broncos. Let's show them who the real horse is. This is our team. Go Colts!
He shouldn't have done that, but I'm sure glad he did. I love the little Mr. Ed there right at the end. That's pretty solid.
Colts!
I'm glad you told me that. I didn't even recognize that as being a horse.
He's making a horse
I
sound.
get it now, but at the time I thought he was just couldn't think of any more words, so he just did that.
All right, Bo Nix yesterday in his debut for the Broncos. First off, Denver put up 34 points, which is good for an offense that struggled to find the end zone last year. Nix, 15 of 21. He had 125 yards passing. Most importantly, he led the team on 4 scoring drives, 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. And the moment didn't look too big for him. He looked comfortable. He looked calm. And he talked about the victory after the game.
It was a good day. I thought we ran the ball efficiently, made some good plays in the past game, converted some third downs, got points when we needed to. It was a good job, going into half with points and then coming out with points. Felt like that was a good point in the game. But overall, felt like we did a good job. A huge team win. Again, like we said, we executed well. Guys were in the right spots, and we moved the ball efficiently a lot of part of the day. And that usually turns into points. And so when you can get points in a game like that, it's kind of going back and forth. It's always good.
And then I like this comment here where he was asking about being on the field against NFL competition for the first time. Godfather, here's what he had to say.
I could tell it was a little bit faster. It was definitely more professional. I mean, the guys are in the right spots. They're disguising. They're doing well. They're where they're supposed to be. But, I felt very calm and relaxed back there. It was just a game. They were still in cover 3 and quarters, and man, I mean, it's the same defense, and so you just got to figure out which one they're in and then execute the play that's called. But I thought we did a great job with our play calls today. We stayed in rhythm. We ran the ball efficiently, and that's always nice. And so overall, it was a very productive day.
All right, there's Bo Nix. As a Bronco fan, I didn't really know what to expect going into the game. I had no expectations. I just know that what I saw from Bo exceeded everything I could have possibly wanted to see in game number 1. What were some of your takeaways from Bobo?
A couple of things, Chad. Number one, he was very well prepared. No question about it. Somebody there knows what they're doing. I have a feeling it's Sean Payton, but he looked totally comfortable and well prepared for whatever happened. Now, they didn't throw a lot at him. It's a preseason game, so they're just base defense and not changing a lot. But he was, like you said, so comfortable, handled everything really well. And then afterwards, you can tell he grew up in a coach's family. Every question he answered was from a team point of view. We executed well. People were in the right place, on and on and on. He just knows how to be a quarterback. That's how you're a quarterback. And I'm sure away from the microphones, in the locker room, he's the same way. He knows how to do this. He's the guy that will buy Rolexes for the offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
You
take care of your guys.
Yeah.
No sacks given up by the Broncos offensive line, no matter which quarterback was playing yesterday. The other thing that stood out to me, too, was one, his athleticism is going to be a valuable asset to the offense. We saw Peyton with a couple of design quarterback runs where Bo was able to take off and have a lead blocker out there. We saw him on a couple of scramble drills, able to pick up yards with his legs. Yes. He talked about after the game that that's something that he trains for, to always be in a position to be able to do that. And then with the arm strength, he wasn't a dink and dunk. He took some shots down the field. I think his arm strength is better than what I think a lot of people think that it is. So athleticism and arm strength were there, but I just think the most important thing was for a rookie who's never played in the NFL before, getting the plays in, getting to the line of scrimmage, getting your guys set, getting the plays called. There were no procedure issues or running up against a shot clock. He was in command of the offense, getting the play called in the huddle and run from the line of scrimmage to where they could get things off in time, which I thought was excellent.
Yeah, the one thing I think people slept on with him was his athleticism and his ability to run, because at Oregon, he didn't have to do much of that. He didn't have to scramble around a lot. They protected him well. He got the ball out quick. But we knew from watching him here all the time, he can run when he has to.
Yeah.
He's not as stiff as he looks. He kind of looks stiff to some people, I'm sure, but he's an athlete, and he showed it.
Well, he's a sneaky white guy who can run a 4.5 40.
Yeah.
Which means he can pull away from
run
linebackers.
He runs a 4.5.
Yeah.
Whew.
So he's got quickness, and he's got some ability to maneuver, and you have to have that in today's NFL or you're in big-time trouble. Most importantly, he knows how to get down, too, so he can avoid that big hit. But he's 6'2". Elway was 6'3", 215 throughout his career. Bo is 6'2", 217. So he's well put together. He's not some type of scrawny dude or someone you would be concerned with, like maybe Jaden Daniels with the size. He's really strong. Now, as you might expect from Sean Payton, even though he probably wanted to just drop double barrel on everyone and say, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I got my guy.
Yeah, do you see why I took him?
He didn't give up jack squat after preseason game number 1 on his quarterbacks. Take a listen to what Coach Payton had to say.
Listen, the ball's out. I like the timing, the tempo of when we're releasing it. That was a big issue for us a year ago with the minus plays. We were towards the back half of the league, I think, fourth. So I was pleased with the timing of what we were doing, throwing the ball. That's important. All of that, those guys they're doing a good job of handling the competition. They really are. And they're taking advantage of the reps they're getting when they're in. And they're focused on, like, putting their best stuff together on tape when they're in the game, all three of them. And so, those numbers will unfold a little differently next weekend. We'll see, on Sunday at home.
There you go. There's Sean Payton. He made it sound like each quarterback was identical to one another. Like it's an even race. Like Bo Nix, Jared Stidham, Zach Wilson. They're all great. They played great football exactly the way we want. He also threw Russ under the bus. He got Russ.
Oh, yeah.
He got a shot in on Russ in that comment there. But that's the way he's going to play it. He's not going to reveal anything until he's ready to reveal something. The cool part is in this game coming up next weekend against the Packers, Bo Nix will get the start, and then we'll see what that progression is after a week of practice, including joint practices with the Packers. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch with Bo.
Yeah, I think he's being smart too, and I think he's probably cautioned everybody. That's one game.
Yeah.
Let's just hold on and not overreact to anything. Let's be careful about that.
I think for me, I think Bo was terrific in his first game. He wasn't perfect, especially at the start, but as he settled in, he got better and made some good plays. I thought the touchdown throw to Marvin Mims right at the pylon in the end zone was a terrific throw because it's exactly what he wanted from Russ that he wasn't going to get from Russ because he's not that type of quarterback. But you got a zone read option, and Bo Nix is looking at the defense, trying to see what look he's going to get. And as soon as the ball is snapped, he fakes the handoff, doesn't even adjust the ball in his hands, and just, boom, that ball is out so quick, right into the midst of Mims, right on the pylon for the touchdown. If that ball is late or if it's thrown off the mark, it could be picked off and returned the other way to the house.
Yeah.
And I saw that play. I was like, okay, that was quick release, smart decision, and the ball was thrown right on the money. Accuracy, on time, accurate. That's what coaches want in the NFL, and that's what Bo displayed on that throw right there.
He could have easily had 2 touchdown passes, Chad. They didn't. Of course, the game feed we saw was the Indianapolis Colts feed. So that one time that he threw the ball in the end zone, the right side of the end zone went right through the receiver's hands.
Yeah.
I ran it back a couple times because they didn't really say anything.
They didn't say anything. They didn't replay it or anything.
No, they didn't even replay it. They were too busy doing something else, talking about the DB, I think. But that should have been caught. He would have had 2 They ended up settling for a field goal that time, I think. But it should have been a touchdown. Ball was perfectly thrown.
It was. And he made a couple other throws downfield that resulted in pass interference penalties.
Exactly.
Which are just as good as completions.
Yeah, and I think he threw them knowing that they were going to draw, especially the one where he kind of underthrew a little bit
Purposely.
because the guy comes back. It's always pass interference.
The defender is almost screwed in that situation 100% of the time because they can't
Yeah.
stop their momentum. And as
Right.
soon as the receiver stops and turns for the ball, the guy's going to bam right into him.
Instant collision.
Guaranteed flag every time.
Yeah.
Mike McGlinchey, right tackle for the Broncos, smart guy out of Notre Dame, talked about Nix after the game. Take a listen to this.
I thought he did great, just like he has been, all training camp. I think he's incredibly mature and collected and understands his role. And I think he's done a great job with the way he's handled everything. I think he's shown gradual improvement and at times really great improvement all throughout this training camp, and I think today was no exception. He played his balls off out there, and I'm just proud of him and excited to see where he can go.
I love that. He played his balls off. That's a good saying.
Footballs. He meant footballs,
Yes.
Chad.
Look, all I know is, if you're Sean Payton and your staff, you got to feel pretty good about where Nix is at coming out of that game, right? 'Cause they're not surprised by what he did, but they got to feel good about where he's at, thinking we got our guy.
Yeah. It was a heat check, so to speak.
Yeah.
Throw him out there and just see if he's as good as we thought he was. And
Yeah.
I think they feel now that's a bit of a validation to what they've thought all along.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind he'll be starting day one, just on the basis that he's taken the lead in the race. But more importantly, whether it's Zach Wilson or Jared Stidham, they're not the future. It's Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And Bo Nix had 61 starts in college. He's obviously mentally, emotionally, he's prepared for this moment. So why not put him out there and just let him start from day one? That's the only thing that makes sense. I want to see continued progression in this next game against Green Bay, but I feel pretty good about where Bo is at right now. His work ethic, his leadership, the understanding of the offense. And the thing is that he's going to get better with more time on the field. That's the beauty of this with Bo. I have full confidence that with his work ethic and his intelligence that he's only going to get better with more time. And I didn't realize this until today, Godfather, but this is another thing that blows me away about Bo. He played 5 years in college. He had a different flipping offensive coordinator all 5 years.
Yeah.
Even at Oregon, he went from Dillingham to Stein. That's hard to do because you're going into an offseason learning a brand new offense every year, so you never get comfortable. You never get a chance to adjust. So my thought is, like, with the ultimate quarterback guru in Sean Payton, how much more comfortable will Bo be from year one to year two with the same offense and a great teacher as he gets a chance to grow into that offense? That's pretty exciting to think about, considering 5 different offensive coordinators in college. That's brutal.
I can't imagine what it was like every summer, learning new terminology for everything you're doing, plus a new philosophy in some cases.
Hard.
Some guys want you to force the ball once in a while. They want you to run. Everything is different for each guy.
A lot of chaos going on. I do want to play this for you, and you showed this to me, but Bill Belichick was asked about playing your starters in the preseason and how you do that, how that looks. And this is on McAfee's show, and it's A.J. Hawk asking the question. Take a listen.
Throughout your time when you're coaching in New England, how would you put together a plan of how your starters may or may not play throughout the preseason? And did that change throughout your time in the NFL, how you kind of employed your starters?
Yeah, that's a great question, AJ, and that's one that I think it's a pretty long conversation, but a very, very important one. It really just depends on your team. If you're going to put your starting quarterback out there, you probably want to put him out there with your starting offensive line. You want to put him out there with, receivers that he's going to be throwing to. So if your depth is not good at those positions at that particular point in time, maybe you got a couple of guys banged up or whatever, then is it really worth it? And on top of that, you have to spend time preparing for your opponent, right? You don't know what they're going to do. So I don't think you want to play, your starters for 5 plays. That doesn't really do any good. You want to maybe leave them out there for, 20, 25 plays, something like that. Well, that involves preparation time, and that's maybe 2 or 3 days of practice. And I'd say with the shortened, training camp time frame now, that's a little harder to do than what it was in the past. I remember when I was, with the Giants and you had 3.5 weeks of training camp, you could take 3 days to prepare for your first preseason game and play your guys, 20 plays a game or so, and let them get into it. Well, now it's hard to get those days. When you go with joint practices, you can go ahead and put your best players out there and let them compete against the other team. for a couple days and really get a lot of reps and get a lot of quality work, then, do you really want to come back and play those guys 2 days later, basically on no rest and put them in a big contact situation? Can you get more out of the joint practices? So, and then some of it, especially at the quarterback position, I think depends a little bit on the player. Like Tom always wanted to play in preseason. He always felt like, I want to get more work. I want to get the live, the speed of the game. I want to do that. And so, and then, I've been with other players that are kind of, not that they don't, they really don't want to do that as much. Like, I want to get a lot of work in practice. I really want to do that. The 10 plays in a preseason game doesn't really do anything for me. I don't care about that. And I don't think there's a right or wrong on that, but I do think that especially with the quarterback position, you would take that into consideration. If the player really wanted to play and felt like he needed it for his timing, then I think you'd probably find a way to do it. But as far as the rookies go, I think for those guys, they should play and they should get a feel for the game, the speed of the pass rush, just, especially I'd say some of the rookie quarterbacks this year who, some of whom are a little undersized, just, the height and the girth of the defensive linemen and all that. I mean, that's good for him to experience in a live game situation, not just practice. But from the team standpoint, you just want to make sure that you can, protect those guys both with their linemen and also with receivers and backs and so forth that know what they're doing out there, so that if there's any type of adjustments that need to be made, you have guys out there that are going to, do the right thing and give the quarterback an opportunity to get rid of the ball.
All right, there's Bill Belichick with Pat McAfee. How'd you put that, Godfather? That's pretty flexible for a guy not known for his flexibility.
Yeah, he's known as a very strict guy who doesn't vary a lot, he doesn't have a gray area, they always said. But that sounds to me like, hey, whatever my quarterback wants to do, we're going to try and figure out a way to do it.
I love it. It's not easy. If you want to play your quarterback, you can't just put him out there with young guys. You got to put him out there with the guys that know what they're doing to protect him.
Well, and Peyton did that for Knicks. He kept those guys out there. After Stidham left the game, most of the other guys stayed out for at least the first 2 or 3 series for Bo.
All right, we'll come back on the Rip City Drive, and when we do, you're going to find out what it sounds like to call Steph Curry the devil in French.
Yeah.
All right, Godfather, take a listen to this. This is the French call on Steph Curry going wild at the end of the gold medal game when he just ripped the hearts out from Team France, and then USA grabbed gold thanks to Steph Curry catching fire. It's amazing that you can be down 3, and in a blink of an eye, you're up and in full control of the game because of one man, Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And how about the teammates, guys like Kevin Durant doing a good job of recognizing what was going on. It's like, okay, we got to get Curry the ball in a position to shoot, and they did.
They sure did.
Continue à aller voler les ballons, et ce diable de Curry qui nous fait mal. Attention, attention au tir de Steph Curry. Oh non, mais non.
Les gars, vous allez lever la main à tout moment pour déclencher.
Attention, ça va déclencher Devin Booker. Steph Curry.
There you go. You could hear it right at the beginning with the devil talk. Someone had to go through and translate it, but they did. They were referring to him as the devil because they knew how dangerous he was, and they hated the fact that he was getting all the shots because they knew it was about to happen. They're not fools.
That devil Curry.
That's pretty amazing. That devil named Curry.
What a classic.
But it makes sense, right? That's probably how they felt watching that guy go off.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do?
I love the last one where France sent 2 bigs. One of them was Batum, and I'm a great defender, flying at him, and another big flying at him while Kevin Durant and LeBron James were wide open on the other side on the wing. LeBron, of course, hands up in the air, crying for the ball. No, Steph just shot the ball right over a moonshot over the outstretched hands of the defenders. Bingo. And France decided, we'll leave those guys open. We're going to guard Steph. He's on a heater.
How did LeBron James win MVP? And I got to be honest with you, I had no idea they handed out an MVP in the Olympics.
I think Clutch got to whoever was voting. It's a joke.
It's a total joke. It's an absolute joke. It's like, come on, man.
He got benched in the fourth quarter yesterday for a brief time after a turnover. They put him back in later. He had another turnover after that.
I still can't believe the coaching staff. It was Eric Spoelstra, Steve Kerr, Mark Few, and Tyronn Lue. And you got moms complaining about playing time being doled out to players. It's like, hey, why don't you just let the best coaching staff ever figure out how to get this done, which they did. They did their job. Steve Kerr doesn't have to apologize for jack.
They went over to win the gold. They won the gold. End of argument. I mean, that they accomplished the goal. And that is, I think you're absolutely right, Chad. I think it's the smartest men's basketball coaching staff we've ever seen in the Olympics. Any one of those guys could have been the head coach. Even Mark Few, I would say.
Mark Few's a darn good basketball coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's Steph Curry right after the win on IG just sharing his emotion.
We got that goal. 1, 2, 3, go. Go to sleep. 1-0.
Hey,
4-3.
we just won a gold medal, man. We out here in France. Hey, Ann said I just showed up 3 days ago.
Hey, my boy just got the Bears about 3 days ago, but we so glad he got here.
I don't know what to tell y'all, man. This is wild, bro. We ain't done a lot in the game, but this one right here, this is up there. We're about to go out and get our gold medal. It's a one and done, baby. Gold medal. You do it like that. Appreciate all the love, appreciate all the support. Everybody who texted me, everybody who posted, everybody who tapped in, watched. USA all the way. I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm about to come back on here later tonight because it's about to turn up, but God is good. Tonight was amazing. Team USA, we got gold, baby. I'll be back.
There's Steph. A little bit different than LeBron. That's what I'm talking about. He's so much more likable and easier to embrace than LeBron James.
Yeah. I've never once seen him put a fake imaginary crown on his head.
No. No, the only thing that he does that's annoying is the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Chewing it like a pacifier when he's at the free throw line. That bothers me. And he shimmies up and down the floor after he makes another three. It's like, dude, you've made a billion of them. Why are you acting like that? But that's okay. That's today's NBA, and we don't have enforcers on the floor to keep that stuff to a minimum now. But I just really respect him. And then you got LeBron James trying to get into wherever the party's at. Some young Frenchman's over there trying to get an autograph and say hi.
Yeah.
And he tells him to back the F up and treated him like that. And
He
I'm
did.
like, dude, that's not how you grow the game and create fans. You don't talk to people like that. That bothered me. But everything LeBron does bother me, so whatever. But that's LeBron. That's
And people can see video evidence of that. It's all over social media.
but that's the example. That's who he is.
That's the real LeBron right there.
Yes. And this, the book reading LeBron, the humanitarian, all this other act and stuff. It's just like, no, come on, man. Just don't be a
LeBron, the
fraud.
team guy.
Yeah. Team guy LeBron, who has all of his teammates removed from the team. It's just all nonsense. It's all nonsense.
It sure is.
He puts on a TV show called The Decision. He gets criticized for it, but come to find out after the fact that it was for the children. No, it wasn't. It's because you have a massive ego, and someone convinced you that was a good idea to sit down with Jim Gray. And then when you get made fun of for it, you say it's for the kids. But that's Steph Curry, man. What a stud he is. How can you not like Steph Curry?
No, Alex, everything that's right about the NBA, in my opinion.
The work ethic, the skills, like his skill level, just being able to handle the rock and his ability to get to the spot that he needs to get to and find the angle to get his shot up over the top of taller defenders is something that I just don't understand.
Yeah, he's a savant. There's no question. I mean, he's just, you watch him in his pregame drills, and it's incredible.
And the way he can move and contort his body and be sideways to the hoop and yet still get off a perfect shot. I don't know how he does that. It's ridiculous. He's undersized. He shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
But it's the commitment to excellence with the fundamentals. His fundamentals are so good that it allows him to create that space and that separation.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's undersold is when you practice as much as he does, the confidence comes with it. And the confidence to shoot some of the shots he takes is unbelievable because very often they're not great shots.
All right, we'll come back on the Rip City Drive. And when we do, we have another MJ story for you. This one courtesy of Kevin Garnett. Brian O, Fox Sports Radio, will get us taking all the rookie quarterbacks coming out of the first week of preseason. That's at 4:20. And we'll get a Bo Nix update at 5:20 with Ryan Edwards. You got the Rip City Drive. All right, 4 o'clock Chad here. We start in the NFL. Bo Nix, his first game in the preseason, had 125 yards passing, 15 of 21. He led the Broncos to 4 scoring drives. He'll get the start Sunday when the Broncos host the Packers. That kickoff at 5 on NFL Network. Hassan Reddick has requested a trade. In response, the Jets said they have no intention of honoring that request. Reddick is seeking a new deal after he was acquired in a deal with the Eagles. Deshaun Watson will start in the Browns preseason finale. On the diamond, the Mariners have won 4 straight. They sit tied atop the AL West with the Astros. Seattle will kick off a 9-game roadie tomorrow in Detroit. That first pitch at 3:40. Mookie Betts activated off the DL after missing 2 months with a broken hand. The AP poll is out. Just like the coach, is Oregon ranked number 3 behind Ohio State and Georgia. More of the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad coming at you right now. Brian No, Fox Sports Radio at 4:20. And at 5:20, we go to Denver to talk to Ryan Edwards. Bo Nix update. That's a great song. All right, Godfather, I didn't know this. Someone reached out and asked me the question, why don't the coaches get medals? I never knew that the coaches for Team USA don't get medals. That seems like a rip job right there. How can the coaches who spend hours and hours working their asses off, and then Steve Kerr, who had to spend hours and hours apologizing to everyone for his decision-making with playing time.
Including the moms and dads.
Yeah, and you don't get a medal for that? That seems like he's getting ripped off there. What's up with that, man? The coaches in all sports in the Olympics work their tails off.
Yeah, they do.
That's a joke.
If you give them to the basketball coaches, you got to give them to the breakdancing coaches and the swimming and diving and the track and field and all. And I believe there's nothing wrong with that. They deserve medals, probably.
That's ridiculous.
But I always heard USA Basketball would buy the coaches rings.
Oh, that's cool.
Which, I mean, the thing about a ring, you can actually wear it somewhere. What are you going to do with that medal except wear it out to the club the night after you win?
No. If I had a gold medal, dude, that thing would be like a watch, man. Are you kidding me?
Flavor Flav, right there.
Would be. There's no way I would take that off. I would sleep in it. I would wear it everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And if someone had a problem with that, I'd tell them to, pound sand. Yeah, I won gold, man. Suck it. There's no way I'm not wearing that thing. Are you kidding me? What a great conversation starter that would be.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah.
Hey, what's up with that? That's my gold medal. I won it in the 24 Olympics. We took out France when Steph Curry hit multiple threes in the final 2 minutes.
Well, then you could do the one of those dating apps and get your picture taken with a medal on it.
Dude, anything I can do to enhance what I've got going on, and if that's a gold medal, I'm even if it's bronze, man.
Yeah,
I'm freaking wearing that thing everywhere. I've never understood these guys. They win like these championship rings, and some of them don't even know where they put their rings, or they're in storage somewhere.
Well, they're getting too expensive to wear now. I mean, if that ring is worth $30,000, you're not going to be wearing it around.
Dude, I'm serious. If I was Phil Jackson, everything that I could fit a ring on, I would fit a ring on. If you have 10 or 11 rings, I want everyone to know that I'm the best at what I do. Yeah, I'm a champ. I know I might get mugged or whatever.
Yeah,
Who cares,
I was going to
man?
say. Chad doing found without 3 fingers on him.
You'd see me step up to the number 1 tee box in the morning. I'd have every ring would be filled. Every finger would be filled with a ring. Yeah, I'm a champion 10 times over. You got a problem with that? There's no way. A gold medal's awesome. Like, that is so cool. You told me how much pride they take in that. How could you not wear that occasionally?
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. And I would get rid of the dumb thing that they have on there that you wear. I'd bling it up a little bit. So, like, I don't know what that is, but like the fiber necklace thing they got that holds the metal.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting rid of that. I'm going to bling it up.
Yeah, I think, did you see after they gave him the medal, they came around and they gave him I think they were giving him a little box. Supposedly, Louis Vuitton made the box for the medal that they'd have someplace to put it in. Yeah.
Good gracious.
Well, to the basketball players, they probably like the box as much as they do the medal.
That's pretty cool. I still think that's a rip job. The coaches get complete shafts on that. Thanks for all your work. You don't get a medal, though, even though you coached and are a huge reason why these people here have medals.
Supposedly, this is it for Curry. He's not going to do it again, and who would blame him? But they say that Spoelstra's next in line to get it.
Oh, good.
I think the guy who coaches the next team is going to have his hands full because it's going to be a much different team than this team. And Victor Wembanyama is going to be a lot better next time around.
And that's fine, but the Americans will still have more talent and more depth.
They should.
So there's no excuses. I don't want to hear any from Spoelstra. I don't want to hear any from Kerr. The Americans are always going to put the best players out there. You just got to find a way to get it done. But I think they should probably get an idea of who the squad's going to be now and then get the commitment from those guys to do whatever it takes. And as you pointed out, I mean, you've been hammering on LeBron all Olympics long. Maybe it will be easier for Spoelstra to get a more team-oriented group in there that's willing to do whatever it takes to win.
I think it would be, yes.
I mean, who are some of the young Americans on the up-and-coming that could be a part of it?
Well, Edwards is going to be on. And Halliburton, they'll owe Halliburton because he didn't play and he didn't complain about it. In fact, he had the greatest. Did you see his post on X?
Yeah, he's great.
He after it was over, he said it was like being involved with a group project in school that you had nothing to do with and still getting an A.
Yeah. Yep. And that's something you learn real quick in group projects.
Yes.
Sometimes everyone does not take part in the project.
Yeah.
But they still get the same.
He got his gold medal. Didn't matter if he played or not.
But that was his role. He wasn't called upon to play. Again, that goes back to what Coach K said. Hey, whatever I ask you to do, I need you to be on board with whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
That means if you're not going to play because we're going with a different combo, then you have to embrace that and support your teammates.
Yeah, and nobody heard a peep out of him or his mother, for that matter.
And to me, that's gold medal worthy, where you can actually take a part in helping the team through practice and encouragement without bitching about it. That's huge, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, real quick, before we get to the Kevin Garnett story, you have to admit it's pretty funny to see Hassan Reddick requesting a trade from the Jets.
Oh, gosh, Chad.
Are the Jets not a joke or what? What a disaster. You trade for a guy because you know when you bring him in, he wants a new deal. Now you're balking at giving him a new deal, and now he's requested a trade, which you quickly say we have no intention of honoring.
Yeah.
Way to handle it, morons.
Yeah. The one backstory I've heard, now whether it's true or not, they're not saying it, I guess. Supposedly, they did agree on a new deal with his agent, and then the trade got made, and the agent said, well, that's not good enough now. Because the agent figures, well, I got him over a barrel. They just traded for this guy. We can get more now. So apparently that was the thing. And then they're saying, look, you're not going to blackmail us like that.
Okay. Well, I don't
Even
believe
then.
the Jets. Yeah. I don't believe the Jets. They're known for stupidity, so I have to assume that they're mishandling this on some level.
Yeah.
And if the agent's doing that and he's trying to punk the Jets, that's funny. It's just the Jets. Leave it to the Jets to find themselves in a pickle.
Yeah. No, it never
Or you
works
could just
out.
up the ante and pay him a few more dollars and have no distractions. Which do you want? Distractions, which you have plenty of because you're morons, or would you like no distractions and pay Reddick a little bit more than what you want to pay him?
Yeah, and now the 49ers are trying to bring Ayuk back.
Yeah. That's a good move because that would be
is.
very dumb to let him go.
And
We're
I
all
think-
in, but we don't want to pay Ayuk.
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't you think now that's probably what's going to happen? They've got the market set for him. And
If they pay him what he wants to be paid, they'll get it done. Ayuk just wants to be paid with the best wide receivers in the league. And he's clearly the 49ers' best target. So, yeah, you just take care of him.
they can't afford to lose him.
And he's younger, and he's as we pointed out, in that zone scheme, he blocks like an MFer. And you need that type of blocker at the receiver position to spring McCaffrey. Trust me, his teammates want him there because they know how valuable he is. Now, we love MJ stories. We love Larry Bird stories. And here's another MJ story. LeBron probably won't like it because we're highlighting the greatest of all time, and that's got to be a problem for LeBron. But Kevin Garnett, I have not heard this story before, so let's take a listen to KG and his MJ story from back when Kevin Garnett was first entering the NBA. I think this took place in Chicago.
And remind people it's heavily edited.
Heavily. I went over it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure there were no...
KG has a tendency to drop some four-letter words once in a while.
Yeah, and then some.
Creatively.
He's an FCC violation just waiting to happen.
For sure.
Let's take a listen to Kevin Garnett on MJ.
One of my favorite MJ story is, since this is out there, we're in Chicago. You know, it's my rookie year. Anyway, I'm playing, right? But JR is having a good game. You know, JR Mike.
JR Ryder.
JR Ryder. Shout out to JR Ryder, right?
Easy Ryder.
So I'm like, so as we come out the timeout, just I'm on, y'all. I can't even explain it. I was just like, yo, keep killing that, yo. Kill, bone him, yo. Joe, straight up, you have a good game, Joe, keep going. But it was on some like just fly by, like he was like, yeah, you too. So as I'm walking off, right here, Mike can hear me, but I don't really give a So I double back, like, yeah, keep killing yo, you killing that motherfucker. So as I say that, I feel it. Hands on hips, legs locked.
Then look.
Stared me for about 15 seconds. So I start to feel it. There's two ways you can go in this. I can walk this off out like I don't even feel it and play it off and dummy out. Now I'm in here, I got turn this motherfucker. So I'm on. Keep killing this. Okay, keep it up. So I hear JR go, all right, young fella, keep going, yeah, you too. So he's trying to get me off and over. I don't even, now that I recall it, he was trying to kind of just get off and over. So he go, so I double back, go, and get ready to say something. So he go, hey, look, Mike, he don't really know how I see him and Mike having a conversation. So he's like, he don't really know he excited, whatever. So now MJ on the back leg joint, he's
leaning on you.
Like,
is that right?
Okay, yeah, huh? I can't even really describe the next like 6 to 7 minutes of play, y'all. In this next 6 to 7 minutes of play, y'all, we get two 10-second calls. When you bring the ball up, you gotta get across half court. 2 10-second calls. We down 25 now. It was just at 2. Mike had 18. He had like 40 now. JR, myself, we ain't scored in like about 4 minutes. Then I subbed like 3 of the starters. Like it's just finally flipped. It got bad quick, y'all. I come to the joint and they know this. When you come and you've been on the run, when you not got back on the floor, got back, had to rebound, and you feel like you on defense all the time, you come to the bench like this. So I was like, JR, man, my bad, dog. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. He like, it's cool, man. I told you, to shut your ass up, man. So you got in between the Gatorade there where you like, damn, and next thing you know, we over there like this. And Mike came down, okay, young fella, okay, damn, young fella, damn, y'all done? Damn, young fella. Never talk to Mike ever again in life.
There you go. Another Kevin Garnett story. Talking junk to Mike. And like a lot of youngsters, Michael able to kind of show him the way.
Yeah, it didn't take long for most players to realize you didn't say a word to the man.
All right. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio, our good friend, going to join us next. We got to get his take on who stood out to him amongst the rookie quarterbacks who played. And
for sure.
I mean, really, if you're a Viking fan, a Bears fan, a Bronco fan, a Commanders fan, take your pick.
You think there are any Commanders fans?
They're out there. They just don't like to name the Commanders.
Yeah, for sure.
They all look great. It was impressive, man.
Did.
A lot of fun to watch.
They sure
Gosh,
did.
we got a good young crop of QBs, which is good for the league. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio, will join us next. All right, Godfather, I think he just came out of a hibachi restaurant. So,
Oh, really?
where in the world is Brian Noe? He joins us right now, Fox Sports Radio. He's the man. B-No, where are you at right now?
What is going on, Chad doing? And Dwight, yes, I am at a hibachi restaurant across from University Park Mall in the South Bend, Indiana area.
Nice.
And we're heading to Indianapolis after hibachi and the drive for about a month.
That's great,
and then who
man.
knows where.
That's great, dude. It's great to have you on the show. Of all the rookie quarterbacks, who impressed you the most over the course of the first week of the preseason?
Wow. It was a very short sample size, but the feel that Caleb Williams had with the little dump off to DeAndre Swift, that was a pretty sweet play. And Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator, using a lot of bootleg and play action stuff. And that's really well suited for Caleb Williams. He looked smooth. He looked in control. I was impressed with him. I loved Jaden Daniels' throw against the Jets. That was tight coverage. He threw a deep ball down the right sideline. Again, only a couple of passes, only one drive, but he looked good. I liked what Bo Nix did, your guy, right? Chad, you got Bo Nix now. He looked pretty good in 5 drives. So the most impressed I was, it might have been Bo Nix because it was a bigger sample size, but that playmaking ability that we know from Caleb Williams in college, it looks like it's there in the NFL. I know it's a first preseason game. I'm not going to do naked cartwheels because of a preseason performance, but he looked in control. He looked smooth. He looked advanced from where you might expect him to be this early on in his development.
Hey, Brian, we were kind of impressed with J.J. McCarthy. I didn't know quite what to expect from him, but I think I saw a little more athleticism from him than I expected. Did you see him?
Yeah, I mean, he had a couple of throws, Dwight. I like the throw down the left sideline, the go route. That was a nice throw. The other touchdown pass, the guy's just wide open. That type of window in the NFL, you're seldomly going to see. So I wouldn't go crazy over the second touchdown, right? And he had one pick sprinkled in there. But, yeah, he can move around a bit. And you saw some of that at Michigan. Nobody thought he's like like Lamar Jackson, the white Lamar. I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
Right.
the Blanco Lamar from J.J. McCarthy at all, but he's got some athleticism. Sneaky athletic, we say about the white guys, Dwight. He at least qualifies for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we heard that about Bo Nix, too, being sneaky athletic, being able to run a 4.5. What I liked about McCarthy was, and I think on the throw you're referring to down the left sideline, the stepping up in the pocket when you know you're about to get crushed by a defender, like the confidence that he has and the toughness to step up and deliver the football on target. Like, that's impressive to me from a youngster. And I think the toughness, if Jim Harbaugh loves a guy, that means he's a tough guy. And so I just thought that was impressive from McCarthy. But the weird part is, within these young quarterbacks, whether it's McCarthy, who's got Sam Darnold there, Jared Stidham there in Denver with Bo Nix, it's like, I mean, I don't understand the idea of not starting a rookie from the get-go when they're the future and not the other guy who is the incumbent veteran, so to speak.
Yeah, I hear you. It's a little bit more of maybe a softer launch if you say, hey, let's throw Darnold in there.
Yeah.
Let's see what he does for the first couple of games. If he slips, if we falter, we turn to JJ, and it's not the same level of expectations, right? Like, it's a little bit of a different dynamic. But I think the main reason you wouldn't start a guy from week one is if you say, okay, he's just a little behind. Maybe it's whatever, reading a defense at the NFL level. Maybe it's the terminology. It's getting in the playbook. It's all the checks. It's all that. If you look at it honestly and say, we don't think he's quite ready and he might develop some bad habits, then I wouldn't start him week one. But that's been my litmus test for the longest. If you can honestly say, hey, he's ready enough to not establish bad habits just simply because he's unprepared, then throw him out there. Let him learn on the job. I'm all for that.
Did you like Jaden Daniels?
I did. It was such a small sample size, Dwight, but that throw along the right sideline, that was tight coverage. That was a beautiful throw. We all know about his athleticism. It's such a flex when you can basically walk in the end zone. Like, I don't even have to try to run to score, you know.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool to have a one-and-done drive that results in a touchdown. So that was a good debut from Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought Jaden was great in terms of his. He throws a beautiful football, but for him and McCarthy, it's like someone's got to get through to these young guys. Like, hey, do not lower your shoulder pads. Do not try to run over a defender. You've got to learn how to slide. And it seems to come easier for the quarterbacks who used to play baseball. But dang, it's like you got to find a way to avoid the big hit, because if you don't, you're going to get cracked by a defender. And the next thing you know, you're out and you're going to miss time, and you can't put yourself at risk like that. These young guys, they got to learn quick, man.
Yeah, you're right. And we saw that with Caleb Williams. He had a scramble and he got down. And he did it with a little style, a little first down point forward. But that's important. Think about who's now a second-year quarterback with the Colts, and Anthony Richardson. He's built like a Greek god, you know, and he started 4 games and didn't finish 3 of them, you know, due to getting banged up. So if he's getting banged up, he had the shoulder surgery and only had 84 passing attempts last season. He was done for the year. If he can get hurt, then, yeah, someone who's a lot more slightly built can get hurt as well. You got to get down. Get what you can get down, slide, don't take that punishment.
Curious what you thought of the new kickoff rule, and maybe whether or not it might be a little more exciting when we get to the regular season, and maybe they're using more premier kick returners or something. What did you think about all that?
I'm cool with it, Dwight. I think that having more kickoff returns instead of touchbacks is a good thing. I think, to your point, it's very vanilla right now. When the regular season rolls around, you'll see a lot more bells and whistles, where you'll see more elaborate blocking schemes, maybe a little razzle-dazzle, stuff like that. So it's very plain right now, and I think people are very impatient with, hey, we haven't had 9 touchdowns yet. Like, scrap this whole thing. I'm for it. I want more kickoff returns, more action instead of more touchbacks. But I think they got to simplify this a little bit to just explain it to someone who's like, oh, they got a new kickoff rule. How does it work? It's like, hey, do you have 2 hours where I can just map this out? Or it's like, all right, you spotted at the 20 in this instance. You spotted at the 30 if this happens. You spotted at the 40 if this happens. And it's like, what are we doing right now? The safety in the Chiefs game against Jacksonville was weird. And it's just hard to digest all of the rules. I would like them to streamline it and make it a little bit simpler. But as far as just the new concept and having more kickoff returns, I'm all for that.
Just quickly, Brian, you watched more than I do. I'm sure you did in the opening weekend, because I'm not a big preseason guy. But all that talk about the kickoffs, the other thing they changed was they're using a laser on first downs. I heard nothing about that. Nobody ever said a word about, oh, yeah, that's a first down. The laser told it or whatever. Maybe there just weren't any close 3rd and 1s or something. Did you hear anything at all about that?
Yeah, it wasn't. Maybe it was because most of the focus was on the kickoff rule changing, that the Hawkeye technology, you know, it wasn't as big of a conversation. But I do remember that a little bit of conversation about the chain gang being replaced. And we're like, oh, they're going away. I like that. If it's not broke, why fix it? That's how I feel about it. I saw the Hawkeye technology in the Dolphins game when they were playing the Falcons, and it was hilarious. So the football spotted right inside the 5-yard line, the new Hawkeye technology. It's unveiled. We see the computer graphic, and it's like, all right, first down Dolphins. The Falcons challenged the play where the ball was spotted. They reviewed it, and they're like, oh, yeah, he is short. The quarterback was out of bounds before he got the first down. They spotted the football again, and it wasn't a first down. So it's like the Hawkeye technology, it only does so much. You know, if you have a gripe about where the ball should be spotted, it defeats the purpose of the Hawkeye technology. And the officials just stand around like morons. Like, I like when the chain gang is running out there and you're like, okay, it's going to take them about 5 more seconds to get situated, and it is a first down. When the Hawkeye technology goes, you're just waiting. It feels like you're waiting forever, and then it finally shows up, and they're like, it is a first down. I don't like it, Dwight. I'm not a fan of the Hawkeye stuff.
Hey, Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio here on the Rip City Drive. I want to play this for you. This is Jim Harbaugh last week when asked about the Michigan allegations. I want your reaction to it. Take a listen.
Yeah, I do have a comment on that. Never lie, never cheat, never steal. I was raised with that lesson. I have raised my family on that lesson. I have preached that lesson to the teams that I've coached. No one's perfect. If you stumble, you apologize, and you make it right. Today, I do not apologize.
There's Jim Harbaugh. How classic is that from Jim?
Dude, what an absolute clown. I mean, look, here's the thing, man. We realize that lying is basically a second language within sports.
Yes.
Okay? We understand that. But it is so rich for Jim Harbaugh to be lying through his teeth when he says, I know nothing about the sign-stealing allegations, had no clue. Really, dude? Like, 7 members of the staff, they are basically getting popped for this, and you had no idea. Sharon Morris texting Connor Stallions and getting rid of the texts, and you had no knowledge whatsoever that there's this elaborate cheating scheme going on. Give me a break. And so it's one thing to lie about that. It's another thing, Chad, to preface your lie with how you were raised on don't lie, right? I impart this wisdom upon my own family and the teams that I coach. And with that being said, I do not apologize today, and I have no knowledge. It's like, bro, really? If you're going to lie, don't preface your lie with how you don't lie and how you were raised on. It is just such a joke that he said it the way he did. If he continues to lie, fine. Just don't preach at the pulpit about how you don't lie and you don't condone anything lying, and then you lie through your teeth. I just hated that whole thing.
Let me switch gears a little bit with you now. Do you think Ayuk is going to be back with the 49ers, Brian?
I do, Dwight. I think that he's more likely to be there because it's not going to be a perfect situation. That seems to be where we're at right now, where maybe perfect for Brandon Ayuk is staying with the 49ers and getting his asking price, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's putting up numbers. It's a nasty offense. They're a Super Bowl threat. Does he really want to go to the Patriots? He was like, no, I don't know about their quarterbacks. Does he want to go to Cleveland? He turned that down. Does he really want to go to Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields? I think the best spot for him is San Francisco. But if he's so dug in on the money he's going to get, I don't know. It's like you got to take the lesser of two evils, I feel like, because it's not going to be perfect all the way around. And I think that a little less money in San Francisco is probably going to be a better spot for him because I don't see the Steelers just breaking the bank and saying, hey, come over here. He's making so much more money with the Steelers. Like, that's not going to happen. I think it's going to be a very similar price point. Why not stick with your team where you're putting up numbers and you were just in the Super Bowl? That seems to make a lot more sense than going to the Steelers.
That's a good point. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio here on the Rip City Drive. And for these teams to say they're all in to win, you would like to think they'd bring a guy back like Ayuk because he was their leading receiver. And in that zone scheme, Brian, he's a terrific blocker as well. That guy's dynamite.
Yeah, he is. And that's the thing, man, is what you've seen is the Niners' leverage has gotten better. Because where's he going to go? Unless he says, all right, fine, I'm going to Pittsburgh. The hell with the Niners, right? He's going to go back to San Francisco. So they're just waiting this thing out. They're saying he's not going to just hold out for the entire season and miss out on millions of dollars. So they're playing the long game, and I think the leverage is in favor of the Niners. And so I think they're going to get him at a more advantageous price. It's not going to be, $20 million per year, but it's going to be maybe 30, a little north of 30, but not Justin Jefferson at 35 per year. I think he's going to be back with the Niners, and they're going to make another run while they still have their quarterback on a rookie deal. I just don't expect him to be somewhere else.
What about Jordan Love? What do you think now coming into this year? He's the man. He's the guy. High expectations there. What do you expect?
I just want to see a little bit more, Dwight. That second half last season, he was arguably the best quarterback in football the second half of the year. And so I get all the optimism when you're second in touchdown throws in your first year as a starting quarterback. It's pretty impressive. I just want to see him do it again or do something similar again. I'm just uncomfortable breaking the bank for a guy who has one season of starts under his belt. That's just not a ton of information. So he might be the real deal. It's weird because I feel a lot more comfortable with C.J. Stroud after one season as a starter than I do Jordan Love. I don't know if that's accurate, if that makes sense, but it's just my feeling. I feel like, wow, C.J. Stroud wowed us more, and I feel more comfortable knowing he's the guy. With that being said, I'd still be uncomfortable breaking the bank and making C.J. Stroud the highest paid quarterback after one season of outstanding play, right? Like, and I know they can't do that until after year 3 in the NFL, but if there was a way you could, I would still feel uncomfortable making him the highest paid quarterback after 1 year. It's just 1 year. So I want to see more, but Jordan Love, he's off to a great start, and it looks a lot better the second half of the season than it did the first.
Hey, final question. Your thoughts on Steph Curry just absolutely going on fire and ripping out the hearts of the Team France in that gold medal game?
Man, that was outstanding. 4 3-pointers in the final couple of minutes. I love the French call of them calling him the devil.
Yeah.
What a compliment where they're like, this devil Curry, my gosh, we got to steal the ball from this devil.
Yeah, they love it.
How great is that? But, man, listen, no one's going to remember the first 4 games, and Steph struggled a lot. But you talk about erasing all of that and stepping up in the biggest way possible. Against Serbia, the game before the gold medal game, 36 points, made 9 3-pointers. He scores, 24 was it, against France? Certainly 8 3-pointers. But, man, putting them night-night and the 4 3-pointers at the end, especially the last one, while doubled and fading away. And he had the signature moments of the entire basketball tournament on the men's side. So, shout out Steph Curry. I'll tell you what, gambling no was in effect in that Serbia game, Chad. I was large on Team USA not losing. And when they were down 13 heading into the fourth quarter, let's just say I was not happy at that stage. But Steph Curry was electric in that game and then also against France. And I'm happy for him, man. I'm happy for these guys. I think it's the biggest sin to be a fan and like, oh, they were supposed to win by like 15 or 20. It should have been a lot easier. It's like, bro, that is football on a court. With FIBA basketball, it's so much more physical. I don't care that those were close games. They still won. If you can't be happy with winning, you just can't be happy.
That's great. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio with this dude. We love talking ball with you, man. Safe travels as you continue your tour around the country, and we'll catch up soon, brother.
All right, man. Always good hanging with you guys. I hope you have a great night, and I'll check in with you soon. I just don't know where that will be.
That's okay. We appreciate that, man.
Yes,
There's Bino. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio here on the Rip City Drive. We'll keep things rolling. And when we come back, Joel Klatt, one of the best analysts in college football, shares some thoughts on uniforms. We'll run it by you and see what you think. You got the Rip City Drive. All right, big thanks to Brian Noah. We'll head to Denver at 5:20 and get a Bo Nix update with Ryan Edwards here on the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. A week from tomorrow, August 20th, we're going to be down at Oregon State Beavers Camp. Something we do each year. We'll broadcast live from Beavers Camp. We're going to be right there next to the practice field. We'll have a chance to talk to the coaches and players. And a brand new era for Oregon State now that the Pac-12 is broken up and they enter into this uncharted territory. So I'm looking forward to getting down there.
It's going to be a very interesting time. Just watching them practice a little bit will be interesting.
All right, Joel Klatt, one of my favorite analysts in the biz. I think he's terrific. Does a great job with college football. He does a weekly hit on Denver radio that I listen to. He played at CU. He grew up in Denver as a Bronco fan, so I feel a close connection to him. He's also one heck of a golfer, too.
I also feel, Chad, that he looks out for the western half of the country better than most analysts do.
I agree.
He was all in on Bo Nix before anyone else was. He follows things out here.
Yes.
And I think we've needed that in the West because it gets snowed under by all the eastern and the southern baloney.
Yeah, there's no question about it. He put out a tweet after the Broncos game yesterday against the Colts, and the Broncos, they're wearing new uniforms this year. They're going to have the retro tip back to the 80s with Elway and company that they're going to wear in 2 games against the Raiders and Chiefs with the old school orange.
Oh, good.
And the old school helmets with the D and the blue and everything, which is terrific. But he says, he put this out yesterday, quote, from Joel Klatt, "A great uniform is great in part because of the immediate identification of the team. Poorly designed uniforms could represent any number of teams and have no discernible difference for the observer. The Broncos used to have a phenomenal uniform. Now they're trash." I thought that was pretty funny. And, you asked me if I agree with him or not. And here's what I know about uniforms, at least from my own perspective.
Yeah.
The Broncos, right before the year that they won their first Super Bowl with Elway, they had a complete uniform change. They went away from the old school D, the old school orange. And before you know it, they show up with blue uniforms that are highlighted by orange with a cyber horse on the helmet. New scheme. And I saw it, and I was like, that's pretty cool because I like blue more than I like to wear orange, and so I can get behind that. Well, they won the Super Bowl that year. Well, I have found that when my team wins a championship in a new uniform, I really like that uniform a lot. In fact, that's now my favorite Bronco uniform because they won a Super Bowl in that uniform. So that's my take. If your team wins in a uniform, you'll like the combination no matter what they put together. If they lose or have issues in a uniform, you might find that uniform to be problematic.
Okay, let me ask you a question about yesterday. They were wearing white yesterday, right?
Yes, white on white.
You see, the thing for me is in football. Now, basketball and baseball are different. In football, what can you do with a white uniform? There's not a lot you can do because it doesn't have the team name on it.
Yeah.
It just has the player name on the back. And you can put some things on the shoulder pads and stuff, but there's not a lot you can do with it.
No.
So for me, I really didn't notice the uniforms yesterday because they're white.
Yeah.
White is white in football.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's
how
a
could you
clean
call
look.
that trash?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it.
I don't have an issue with it. When I grew up in the 80s, the Broncos wore white pants and white jerseys when they played on the road. They wore their orange jerseys with white pants when they played at home. I didn't have an issue with that either. And I didn't have an issue with the uniforms yesterday. I just don't. They look good to me. They look clean.
Yeah.
And if Bo Nix plays well, no matter what uniform he's wearing, it's going to be fine. Now, they do have some different schemes. They've got orange pants that they could have worn with the white jerseys. They have blue pants they could have worn with the white jerseys. They got some different ways they can scheme it up. They chose to go, white on white. And I think in one of the early season games, they're going to wear the white jerseys and the white pants at home when it's hot outside. And I think that's smart. A lot of teams will do that where they'll make the road team wear the colored jersey just because it's a little bit hotter like that.
Yeah.
But that's my take. You'll like the uniform if your team wins in it. If they don't, you're going to have an issue with it. And the Broncos in the 80s lost a couple of Super Bowls wearing their traditional orange jerseys like they did back in the day with Elway. Well, it bothered me. It's like, well, they can't win a Super Bowl in that jersey, so we got to get something different in there.
Yeah.
Your sports superstition will start to take over. I just don't worry about uniforms as much. What I don't like in the NBA now is that you have all of these different types of jerseys being made. So you have teams now wearing colors that aren't their traditional colors. And then you have teams showing up wearing colored jerseys against team with colored jerseys. And sometimes it gets confusing on the floor to figure out which is which. I grew up in a day and age where home teams wore white, road teams wore the colored jerseys, and it was easy to kind of differentiate between the two, unless you're the Lakers and you wear your home golds and your road purples.
I like the idea of being able to flip the channel, look at the screen, and know who's playing without somebody telling me, without a graphic on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because home and road is a big part of it. Tradition is another big part of it. Don't try and change the Dodger uniforms too much. That's the Dodger uniform. Same with the Cubs, same with the Yankees. Yeah, same with the Atlanta Braves, too. Just kind of keep what you got. They took away the tomahawk on the Braves uniforms a long time ago, and then they kind of slyly brought it back. But I just, people get really up in arms. I remember my favorite City Connect uniform for the Trailblazers was the one with the cool colors on it. It was kind of a creamy with, it said Oregon on it.
Yeah, like the old Oregon sign.
Yes, I loved that uniform, except it was a City Connect, and it didn't have the city's name on it. It said Oregon instead of Portland, which I never quite got that. But if you're going to be City Connect, connect with the city, okay? But that's just me.
Yeah, I didn't like those jerseys, to be honest with you. The only one that I've liked so far, the Connect, was the throwback to Dr. Jack with the darker or
the plaid.
The plaid.
Yeah.
That looked good to me. But again, when I think Trailblazers, I at least need to see something that involves their color scheme, like black or red or white. But some of these new jerseys don't even have that. There's no identification with some of the new jerseys to the team colors. That's weird.
I think the most popular, from somebody who was around the team for years, the most popular jersey they ever had was the all black. I think people loved those. The players loved those. They wore them on the road. They loved.
It was a great look.
They loved going on the road with the black uniforms because it's traditionally black is tied to the villain. That's the villain colors.
Yeah.
The good guys wore white and the bad guys wore black, and I think they loved that. And I miss the baseball days with gray on the road and white at home. Very simple, very easy.
Really, it's the Oregon Ducks who started this whole nonsense.
Yeah, they kind of did. Yeah.
When they started wearing black jerseys at home, and black is not one of their original
they went
colors.
away from school colors.
They went away from school colors. So Oregon was the trendsetter with the Jersey Madness. And I think when people realized, or executives realized, like, wait a second, we can create different uniforms and make money off of all of them.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And money, of course, is that's the absolute force behind the whole thing.
As we've learned in sports, whether it's the NFL, baseball, college football, or whatever, there's a lot of hoes that are looking for money out there. They'll do anything for money. Follow the money. So why are we getting new jerseys all the time? Because people buy them and make other people money. That's really what it comes down to. But you're right. When I flip on a Dodger game, there's something about seeing the white with the blue and the Dodger blue. It's like, okay. It seems like the world's just right when you get traditional uniforms like that.
That beautiful cap with the interlocking LA. You can't beat that cap.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. We'll talk quarterbacks when we come back, all the rookie quarterbacks, and then we'll get a Bo Nix update at 5:20. All right, 5 o'clock, Chad here. How about the Mariners? 4 straight wins. They sit tied atop the AL West with the Houston Astros. They'll kick off a 9-game road trip tomorrow in Detroit with that first pitch coming at 3:40. Elsewhere, good news for the Dodgers. Mookie Betts has been activated off the DL after missing a couple of months with a broken hand. AP poll is out. And just like the coaches, Oregon is ranked number 3 by the press behind Ohio State and Georgia, also number 3 in the coaches poll. From the NFL, Bo Nix, in his first game with the Broncos, led 4 scoring drives. He'll get the start Sunday against the Packers in Denver. Kickoff at 5 on NFL Network. Hassan Reddick has requested a trade from the Jets. Deshaun Watson will start in the Browns preseason finale. Final hour coming up with the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. We'll go to Denver at 5:20 and get a Bo Nix update with Ryan Edwards. All right, big thanks to Anthony Simons for joining us in studio Friday. If you'd like to take part in his inaugural Top Golf competition, it's coming up on August 28th, and there's still spots available to join, and all the proceeds will go to benefit his foundation, bealight.org. You can check out his website at b-a-light.org. And if you want to take part in the Top Golf Invitational, just reach out to Tamika Simons. You can email tsimons at b-a-light.org or give a call, 407-383-5021. Anthony will be there and take part in the Top Golf, 407-383-5021, or email Tamika Simons at tsimons at b-a-light.org. And Simons, from what I could gather from him on Friday, Godfather, like a lot of athletes, doesn't want to get too close to golf yet because they have too much work to do on basketball and they don't want more distraction. I think that's Dame's approach as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty smart because you know as well as I do, once you start hitting that golf ball, it gets a hold of you.
No need to bring in that type of aggravation in your life when you're trying to perfect your basketball game.
Well, and these guys aren't going to be able to stand not being very good at it.
No, so they're going to keep playing and practicing.
Exactly. They're going to be out there every day trying to get better.
It's wild. Let's talk about some of these quarterbacks, man. My overall take on the rookie quarterbacks that I saw, I was blown away because I didn't expect to see such high-level play early on.
Didn't you think one of the two of them would not look so good?
Yeah, and that wasn't the case. And so I was happy after watching the full slate of games because the NFL, as we've talked about, you need great quarterbacks to carry the league. And what I see now is you might have, 4 guys entering the league that are going to be just fine and become great ones here in the near future.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams, I thought he was sensational. I've loved Caleb ever since day one when he was at Oklahoma and then USC. I know a lot of people like to hate on him because they hate USC. They don't like guys who are that good. Heisman Trophy winner, paints his fingernails, whatever the case may be. But his athleticism, his arm strength, his ability to ad-lib, the quick release, there's nothing he can't do on a football field. And I just thought that he looked really comfortable out there with the Bears, and they've got some good playmakers around him. If you're a Bears fan, I think you feel pretty darn good today. But I expect big things from Caleb this year, and I didn't see anything to move me off that after preseason game number 1. He is an elite athlete with a great understanding of the game and great arm strength.
Yeah, Chad, I would say in terms of evaluating all of them, he's certainly the leader in the clubhouse. There's no question about that. And look, one game on all of them, so we don't know anything really, but he looks like he's been in the league 3 years already. I mean,
He's a pro.
yeah, he's got all the physical tools you need.
Yeah, everything you want in a quarterback, he's got. And, frankly, when I met him and had a chance to speak with him last year at Pac-12 Media Day, I just walked away from that interview saying he's a pro already. He came in, the only guy wearing a suit, very focused. He's dialed in. He already treats everything like a business. He doesn't mess around. Like, he's just one of those guys. It's like he's here to get things done. I like that.
By the way, how smart is it to be the guy walking in wearing a suit? That is really smart.
Yeah. I mean, it impressed me. I was like, oh, okay, this is
This guy means business here.
Yeah,
He's a little more mature. He's got a nice looking suit on.
It's big time.
Yeah, he's an adult.
But the mobility, like his ability to, and we saw it in college, but he can avoid pressure like nobody else. And then his ability to throw the football on the run, like ropes, like get the ball downfield accurately on the move. Like that's a critical skill to have in the NFL. But I also think he's got the ability to read and react from the pocket as well with his footwork. So he was awesome. If you're a Bears fan, I mean, celebrate the fact that you've got a superstar at quarterback. The other guy that jumped out at me was obviously Bo Nix. And we'll talk to Rand Edwards about Bo Nix, but just the overall comfort that he had out there on the football field. He led 4 scoring drives, which I think is a good thing for a quarterback in his first game. But with each play, he got more comfortable, and he looked confident. He looked like the Bo Nix that you would expect to see after 61 starts in college. Smart, knows where to go with the football. Could be a perfect match for Sean Payton.
And, Chad, didn't you think the confidence to throw that touchdown pass he had, where he knew the consequences. If that was off a little bit
pick six,
or late a little bit, he was going to be embarrassed by throwing a 100-yard pick six. And, man, he threw it with all the confidence in the world, knowing, I got enough gun here. I'll get it there in time.
I don't know how a quarterback can take the ball, fake a handoff, not adjust the ball at all, and just right out of the hand.
Yeah.
On the money.
Yeah.
So that was good. The accuracy is important. He also he wasn't dinking and dunking. He put a number of balls down the field. As you mentioned, the throw in the end zone should have been caught for a touchdown, but it was dropped. He looked really good. And I think if you're Sean Payton and the staff, you won't admit it because you're playing everything close to the vest, but they got to feel pretty good about what they've got in Bo Nix already.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, behind the scenes, there's a lot of guys patting each other on the back over that one.
There's no way that they're starting Jarrett Stidham over Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
The future is pretty obvious. It's number 10. Get him on the field and let him play. So that was impressive.
Someday we're going to see Sean Payton lean back in a chair and say, yeah, the old coach knows what he's doing in regard to quarterbacks.
Yeah, he believes that too. But you want that. You want a coach like that needs to be arrogant and confident, believe in his abilities. I thought Jaden Daniels was sensational. I love him a lot because of his days at ASU. I followed his entire college career. I like his demeanor and the way he works. But I also thought it was pretty complimentary that during the joint practices with the Jets that Sauce Gardner came over to him to say, hey, you're going to be really good. And that's because he had a chance to compete against him and saw the way he throws the football, delivery of the football, the accuracy of the football. And then he can move and he can run away from guys with his stride. My only concern about him goes back to what we've talked about from day one, his lack of girth. He's slender. And because he's taller, his slide is not natural like Kyler Murray because he doesn't play baseball. And I don't want to see him get hurt. He's got to get down, Godfather.
Yep.
Because in a regular season game, if you're up, right, as a quarterback and you're running, the defenders have a free shot at you. And what are they going to do? They're going to hit the daylights out of you. You can't take risks. But in terms of delivering the football and being able to move, he's got the total package. And because he's with basically a brand new squad with the new ownership and everything, he's going to have time to develop. They're not going to expect he'll get a couple of years to show what he can do. So he's in a great spot.
Though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't give me any nonsense about Mariota or whoever. You got to start that guy from day one.
Yeah.
I like him. He's got the right demeanor. Teammates like him. But again, like I think he has in common with Nix and with Williams, all these guys that we're talking about, according to reports, their study habits in terms of knowing the offense, knowing what plays they're in, knowing where their teammates need to be. Like these guys are not jerking around. They're mentally ready when they step on the field. That's critical because a lot of guys don't have the work habits like that, and they struggle. These guys all working their asses off with the playbook.
You like McCarthy too, didn't you?
Yeah. I know he threw the pick, but what he did that was nice is, I'm a believer in this. If Jim Harbaugh likes you, that means you're tough because Jim Harbaugh does not like weakness. McCarthy's tough, and he showcased that in the game because he was the one guy of all the quarterbacks who was stepping up in the pocket, which is it's hard to do because you know that you got guys looking to crush you, but he stepped up and delivered the football. And on that throw down the sideline that Noah was referring to, as soon as he released it, he got crushed. But that's what a quarterback has to do sometimes. You have to step up and you have to deliver the football even when you know you're about to get hammered. And that's what the job is all about. And he delivered the football with accuracy doing that. That showed toughness. He's quicker in terms of his footwork than what he showcased in college. But I expected that too because they didn't ask him to do anything in Michigan. We're going to run the football and you make a couple plays on third down. But in the NFL, they're going to ask him to do more, which I think he's capable of. Again, high level in the mind, understand the offense. And like Sean Payton with Bo Nix, O'Connell, he's got a great coach.
Yeah, he does.
That's a good situation. And if they don't want to start him, they can put Darnold out there, and they don't have to rush him out there.
See, O'Connell, too, I heard him talk about that, and he said it was almost good that he threw a pick because we got to see him come back from that. And that's what you're looking for.
Bounce back.
Unfazed by that. He's not going to let it bother him. He goes right back out, shows the courage to make a couple more tough passes.
That's a great point.
And he passed the test, you know. He did. He passed the test.
Yeah. Because you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah,
so the question is.
Oh, Bo Nix will make a mistake. More than one.
That was, I think that was what I always admired about Elway. He could have stretches where 3 quarters, 2.5, 3 quarters, he would look awful. Couple of picks, couldn't get it right. But yet, when it came time for the 2-minute drill, when it mattered most, he would make big plays. And I always like guys that can overcome early struggles in a game, but be big late. That tells me a lot about what they're about. I love that.
By the way, Bo looked pretty good on that 2-minute drill, too, didn't he?
He did.
I mean, the fact that he knew how to do it. He wasn't rushed.
Yeah.
He didn't panic when it got under a minute. All those things you look for that you really don't teach a kid. He's kind of got to know it, I think.
I know. I was so ticked off because after the Broncos scored on their previous drive, I didn't know if Bo would get back out there.
Yeah.
But he did. So the Broncos got the ball with 1:45 on the clock. Bo completes a pass to the tight end. He gets rocked, fumbles the football, and the Colts get it. And I'm like, great, now we don't get to see a Bo 2-minute drill. Next play, Denver picks off the pass because they get a good pass rush. So they get the ball back right away, and Nix leads them down and gets points before the half. And then what was important about that, and this is what they're always looking for in the NFL, they want the twofer, right? Score right before the end of the half, get the ball to start the second half, go down and get points, and Bo did that. He got the field goal and then got the touchdown to open up the second half, and I'm like, okay, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Coaches love the twofer.
I have to tell you, I texted you at halftime and said, okay, get him out. We've seen what we need to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to take any more chances. I want him ready to start game 1.
Yes.
That's what I want. You've seen it. You know he can do it now. Just take it easy.
I'm worried
But they started him in the second half.
I know. I'm worried about all the young quarterbacks. I don't want to see him get hurt.
Yeah.
And McCarthy got hit hard a couple of times. Daniels as well. Get down. Don't take any chances. It's not worth it.
Oh, Daniel's the guy I worry about because he has that. He's not like Tua. Tua just
small.
Looks like he can't take a hit at all.
That's right.
And Daniels isn't that way. But he still takes unnecessary chances. He acts like a guy who thinks he can run through every tackle, and he can't.
All right, we'll come back and head to Denver. Ryan Edwards, 850 KOA, will join us. We'll get his impressions of Bo Nix. When might Sean Payton name a starter? What do we expect from the quarterback rotation in this game next weekend against Green Bay? Ryan Edwards is next. All right, so great to have games back and stuff to talk about. And joining us is a good friend of the show from 850 KOA in Denver. It's Ryan Edwards, who is back and ready to talk some Broncos with us. Ryan, it's great to have you back on the show, my friend. Just your overall reaction as you were watching Bo and things play out in the game. Like, what were you seeing? What were you noticing?
Well, it felt like that first drive, and first of all, thanks for having me back on. Felt like that first drive, he was sort of getting settled in a little bit. The pass to Cortland Sutton on 3rd and 10 was pretty impressive, and it was kind of an eye-opening moment. It was like, all right, well, this guy, that takes a lot of confidence to pull that off, and to sort of be patient enough and keep your eyes downfield. Cortland Sutton ran a tremendous route. He shook his guy loose, and he was just kind of wide open on the sideline. But it was one of those deals like, hey, they could have protected him with a screen. They could have protected him with a draw play, right? Instead, they said, yeah, go out there and try to make a play. And he ended up rewarding him for it. Another play later on with the wheel route to Jaleel McLaughlin that had to, you had to take a beat. You had to let that open up. And he did, and he just showed a lot of patience and poise. So, yeah, overall, I think based on what we've seen out of the practice field, he translated a lot of it. But you never know with the nerves and the moment of it actually being inside a stadium in your first NFL game, even if it's a preseason game. You didn't know what that was going to translate, and I thought it translated really well for him.
Ryan, good to have you back, by the way. I wanted to ask you about what you're seeing in practice. Are you seeing a little more athleticism and arm strength than maybe you were told about him before the draft?
Absolutely. Yeah, unquestionably. We saw that early in OTAs when we were out there because that was one of the knocks against him is like, hey, maybe he's only throwing all these short routes because he doesn't have the arm talent, the pro-level arm talent to be able to do anything more than that. And that's just not the case. I mean, he's definitely got the arm talent. Now, is Zach Wilson arm talent? Probably not. But there's only, so many guys in the NFL that have that kind of arm talent. And really, I come back to what Vic Fangio said a long time ago when he was here with the Broncos as a head coach. He said, hey, when he was talking about Drew Lock, he said, this guy's a good thrower of the football, but he's not a good quarterback. And we're going to try to make him a good quarterback. And I thought that was such an appropriate line. And I think about it all the time because you see guys like Zach Wilson, for example, boy, he can sling it, man. He can absolutely sling it, but playing quarterback is a lot more than that. And I think you see the processing that Bo Nix brings to the game. And again, he's got the requisite arm talent, certainly faster, I think, than we thought he was coming out of college. You saw him use his legs a few times at Oregon, but, man, I mean, you saw it on display against NFL talent, and you're going to go, okay, well, that can be part of his game too. So you factor in all that with his ability to process, and certainly looks like they found a gem here.
Boy, the designed run that we saw with the lead blocker, it looks like Sean Payton's going to have some fun getting Nix's legs involved in the game because, he runs like a 4.5 the guy can move when he gets in the open field.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, you saw the design, you saw what he sort of put a little juke on the guy to get the 3rd and 6 pickup. And it's just one of those deals. Like you see that with rookie quarterbacks. If they have a little bit of mobility, they can lean on that early on. You can lean on that facet of your game while you're still getting up to speed on the rest of it. And I do think that most of that stuff is going to come, but knowing that the coaching staff has empowered him. I mean, we're even seeing, and usually this is a bit of a faux pas to run during 7-on-7 drills because it's an offensive drill. There's no pass rush, right? But they're saying, hey, practice it. It's fine because we know that we'd rather you make that decision and take off and grab a few yards than put the ball in harm's way or take a sack. And they just kind of preach that into these guys over and over again. Do not take sacks. Do not put the ball in harm's way. And we have a margin here that we can win games if you're not making bad decisions out there. And I think overall, even though there was a couple of passes he'd probably want to have back, I thought he did a really good job. I thought all three quarterbacks did a pretty good job of not putting the ball in harm's way.
Ryan, obviously Sean Payton saw something in him early. And I'm curious, what do you think the traits are that Bo Nix has that fits so well with what Sean Payton wants to do?
Well, I mean, we talked about it, not taking sacks, getting the ball out fast, processing quickly. I mean, these are all things that he fell in love with Drew Brees for. And, people keep comping him to Drew Brees. I mean, I think it's a lot to comp a young quarterback to a Hall of Famer. But the traits are what you're looking for, right? And there was something early on in the pre-draft process that he just got that sense from him that this guy sees football the same way that Sean does. And that's unique because that relationship, as we know, we watch football all the time. That's what it's all about. You know, you find the connection with an Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and you can ride that to championships. You can ride that to dynasties. And again, you know, you don't want to get too far down the road because he is a rookie and you don't really know. But Sean Payton is betting his legacy. We've talked about this when I've been on with you guys. He's betting his legacy on this quarterback. He believes in him that much. And honestly, as I'm covering training camp and I'm out there every day, I kind of get the vibe that he can hardly contain himself. Like, he's so excited about this guy, but he's doing his best not to, like, talk about it too much because he wants it to appear fair with the competition. He wants it to appear as though everybody is competing out there, and Bo's got to learn, and he still have to learn some parts of the job. But undeniably, Bo Nix has been on an ascension for the last 2+ weeks, and obviously they culminated a little bit in that performance we saw yesterday.
We're talking with Ryan Edwards, 850 KOA in Denver. So they're going to take on Green Bay next weekend. We know that Bo Nix is going to get the start. That's what Sean Payton said. But how do you expect the plays to be doled out? I know that Payton's got his phases, so Bo Nix will be phase one. And then how do you think it will play out throughout the course of the game?
Yeah, it's such a good question because he did say in the post-game press conference yesterday that you are going to see some more snaps for Jarrett Stidham. He felt like Stidham really didn't get a lot of snaps in this last game, and he's right. I mean, I do think that it would have been worth it to let Stidham go back out there after that tough luck interception that bobbled off of Samaje Perine's hands. I would have probably put him back out there, let him have a chance to sort of redeem that moment, but it is what it is, and Bo Nix went out there and got to play about a quarter and a half. I'd say that you're going to want Bo Nix to probably get at least a quarter in this game. I mean, you probably see at least 3, maybe up to upwards of 4 drives possibly. And then, yeah, Jarrett Stidham, I think, is going to get a good bulk of the second quarter into the third quarter. And then once again, it's Zach Wilson on cleanup duty. And I think that you just kind of keep rolling it in like that. And hopefully we'll come out of this game with a clear decision on who's going to be the starting quarterback. It would shock me at this rate, based on the trajectory of where everybody thinks at, that Bo Nix will not be named starter next Monday.
That's just what I wanted to ask you, Ryan. When will he name the starter? Would that be a Monday thing?
It feels like it could be. You know, you're thinking like, okay, well, in terms of you got one final preseason game after that, maybe you still want to get some reps for Nix. Let's just, or for argument's sake, say he's going to be the guy. Maybe you still want to get some reps for him out there in the third preseason game, but you'd at least like to let the team know, and especially also the practice week that you're going to have that week, you probably want to start running your starting quarterback with the first-team offensive line. I mean, you do have to get ready for the season now, and I feel like there's not much more he can prove, right? I mean, you know, if he goes out and has a disastrous performance against Green Bay, well, that probably will say something, but I just don't think he's that kind of guy. He just doesn't seem like he has that kind of floor. You know, oftentimes, and we've been talking about it a lot on our afternoon show, about with rookie quarterbacks, we had Drew Lock in here, we had Paxton Lynch in here. Their floor level was just so low. And you'd just see these practices into the games. You guys saw the games. I mean, it just was like, where do they even know where the ball's going? Like Bo Nix isn't that guy. When Bo Nix has a floor day where it's not a great day, he still makes some great plays. He still makes smart decisions. He's not turning the ball over 4 or 5 times in a practice. That's just not happening. So I would say like a disastrous performance for him is maybe his completion percentage is around 60%. that's a bad day. But even then, I don't think he's capable of that. So it's hard to project what that would look like. I just think that he's going to put forward another performance against the Packers, and we're going to know, and it's going to be obvious.
Who else caught your eye with the rookie quarterbacks that jumped out at you, aside from Bo?
Who else, like other quarterbacks or other players?
Yeah, other quarterbacks. Was it McCarthy, or did you see someone with Daniels, or Caleb Williams? Like, who else did you think looked solid?
Yeah, you know, I thought they all had some moments. I mean, Drake May played the least, I think, of all of them. Jaden Daniels, I mean, you know, certainly one of my favorite quarterbacks coming out. You know, slight built. We'll see how that works for him at the pro level. But, the arm talent's there. Michael Penix had a really deep pass. Looked good. I thought Caleb, if we're really kind of power ranking these things, I thought Caleb, JJ, and Bo Nix were the three best, to be honest. I mean, Michael Penix had some nice moments. He got to play a lot as well. But I thought this rookie class, sometimes we get into this thing because just a few years ago when we had another a 5 quarterback rookie class, well, only one of those guys, Trevor Lawrence, is still on his team. Everybody else is off their teams. This class looks a little more promising. This class looks like there's going to be some staying power. But once again, we're talking preseason games. We're talking some limited reps. But I thought all of them really kind of had some moments over the weekend.
Ryan, I'm kind of curious. Let me switch gears with you a little bit. How's the local media feeling about Deion Sanders right now? I'm kind of curious after he jumped on a local guy the other day. Everybody real anxious to go down there and interview him now?
I wouldn't say anxious is the right word. Well, maybe anxiety for different reasons, kind of deal. But it's just like it's his own planet. I mean, that's the thing. Like Coach Prime, Deion, he's got his own kind of vibe going there. And if you're not one of his people or one of his media members, then you're just not one of his people. And he's going to make that pretty clear. And I again, he is running that program the way he sees fit. If they win games this year, well, hey, you can kind of be however you want to be. The media, they've got to cover you either way. The back and forth he had with one of our local columnists, I mean, yeah, that guy has said some pretty harsh things about Coach Prime in the newspaper, so you kind of knew that was coming. But I did think the stuff with CBS was weird because he actually does a weekly show with them. So that was kind of an odd deal. And then going back with our friend Arnie Stapleton with the Associated Press, where he kept correcting him on a pretty honest question. He asked him, hey, you bolstered the offensive line, and he's like, bolster. Why do you say bolster? And then he's like, okay, well, you beefed up. He's like, why do you say beefed up? And it's just like that's like bully mentality. And I'm not exactly sure what he was trying to prove in that. But yeah, the overall reaction here has been mostly mixed, mostly negative towards Coach Prime, especially because he's a 4-win coach. It's not like he's vying for a national championship today. Right now, he's got to prove that he can actually win, and you don't get to have that kind of behavior if you're a bottom tier coached program in college football.
Ryan, what's cool is about being a Bronco fan this year is that it's not so much about the wins and losses, but just the excitement of week in and week out to watch Bo Nix and his development. Like, it's a different place to be as someone that follows the Broncos. So I think that process is going to be fun for all of us.
Oh, no doubt, man. It's so much fun. And I sort of tweeted that out after the game yesterday, and I was doing the post game, and I just sort of sitting for a moment. It's like, gosh, they're fun. I mean, there's some fun storylines with this team. And, I know that they were kind of panned with the national media over the offseason, and I can understand why. I mean, there's not a lot of blue chip name players. Cortland Sutton. You're familiar with a couple players on the defensive side of the ball, but overall, they're just a team that with a lot of unproven players. Not household names, and so I respect that. I respect that that's not a sexy thing to talk about, but at the same time, they believe that they're a team that's going to contend. They believe they're going to be able to compete. I think we got a chance to see that the floor with this team is a little bit higher than many projected. Now, are they going to put up 34 points a game? Probably not. Are they going to put up 400 yards plus a game? Probably not. But there's certainly a path, and you saw it, I saw it, everybody saw it. There's certainly a path to be successful this year, but they got to stay on track, they got to stay on target, and they got to stay in rhythm. And I think if they can do all those things, including staying on schedule, then I think they're gonna put up some interesting stats this year.
All right, for everything Bo Nix, give him a follow at R Edwards Radio. Is with 850 KOA in Denver. Ryan Edwards here on the Rip City Drive. As always, man, appreciate the time. It's going to be a fun week for you getting ready for the Green Bay game. But thanks, Ryan. You're the best.
You are too. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. Boom. Another Bo Nix update for you.
We are the Bo Nix station.
That is correct. That was fun, man. I'm not going to lie, because I didn't know what to expect, and I like Bo a lot, so I wanted to play well. But I was watching. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Mm-hmm. It's very nice. But Sean Payton, I think Ryan's right. Like, he wants to scream Bo Nix at the top of his lungs, and he can't do it yet. He's got to play it cool. If he wants to do the most unpopular thing in the Rocky Mountain region, start Jared Stidham game one.
Oh, yeah. See how that works out for you. And Ryan said it. There's optimism now about that.
Yeah.
When you get a young quarterback
Yep.
that people can believe in, you have a future.
Absolutely.
That is the future.
Look at what a quarterback could do for you. The Texans, before they got C.J. Stroud, they were a disaster.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they get a good coach in DeMeco Ryans, but they draft the right quarterback, and then guess what? Oh, they're really good. That's the thing about the Broncos this year is if Bo Nix is really good, they're going to win games.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes down to the quarterback play. I don't know how many games they're going to win, but if Bo plays exceptional football, just like any other team, if your quarterback's getting it done, you're going to be in a position to win games.
Yeah.
And my guess is what we'll see with Bo is he'll have moments of brilliance. He'll have moments where he struggles mightily, but that whole process this year will get him to where he needs to be. Again, I want to remind everyone, he's had 5 years with 5 different offensive coordinators. That's astonishing to me. And now he's finally going to get a chance to work with one coach and one offense. How much better can a guy like that be when he doesn't have to change it around all the time?
Well, it's funny, though, when you look back and you think about all the varied instruction he's had.
Yeah.
Long run might have been good for him in a sense that he's probably got a pretty wide spectrum of all sorts of facets of offense because he's had to perform them all.
Gosh. Learning new terminology, I'm still trying to get a handle on the English language after 48 years on the planet.
Yeah.
I can't imagine learning a new offense in college or NFL football every year.
People can't figure out where and how to use apostrophes anymore. And then you ask them to digest a playbook that's about 2 inches thick.
The only thing I'm really big on is I know how to use my theirs, and when I see people that misuse them, it's an eyesore. It's well, no. You can't use it like that, dum-dum.
Yeah. Yeah, the one that gets them the most is, and it's not there, it's you and your, where they mean Y-O-U apostrophe R-E,
yep.
but they use Y-O-U-R.
Your.
All the time you see that.
That's bad.
You're going to go there.
Yeah.
That's apostrophe.
Yeah. That's why I respected Bo Nix last week when he said couldn't care less.
Yes.
Which is often and usually said I could care less. Oh, you could. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's exciting, man. It's going to be fun to watch Bo, especially now. I want to see how he handles the success because there's going to be a lot of hype around him going into the Green Bay game. He's going to get the start. How does he handle that with the next step? My guess is he'll be just fine.
Yeah. Briefly, you talk about hype. I enjoy this every year, looking at this. All the stuff coming out of all these camps, not a peep out of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nothing.
You don't hear anything. You talk about calm waters.
Yeah.
Andy Reid knows how to do this. It's smooth. Now, underneath the surface, it may not be smooth, but you're not hearing any controversy, nobody's upset, nobody's yelling at somebody.
The only controversy around the Chiefs are when someone like the Raiders say something dumb about Patrick Mahomes. That's it. Yeah. I think my guess would be, look, great players, great coaches, they want to do things to separate themselves. They know what's at stake this year. They got a chance to do something that nobody else has done. That's three-peat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do in the NFL because of attrition and
salary cap.
The salary cap, the grind. But that opportunity to win 3 in a row, I think, will motivate them. And we could see a focused Patrick Mahomes more so than what we've seen before, which is a scary thought.
Yeah.
Because
that's real scary.
We could talk all we want about these rookie quarterbacks, but Patrick Mahomes is in a different he's in his own world.
Yeah, they won last year without being the best offensive team they've been. And I think this year their receiving core is going to be better.
The young guys who had a chance to play will benefit mightily.
Yeah, they're going to be better on offense this year than last year.
There's no question about that. It's scary to think about.
Yeah.
And you've got the pairing. This is what I'm hoping that eventually Bo Nix and Sean Payton will have the type of connection that we see with big boy Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It must be nice to be a play caller knowing that you can call anything under the sun and your quarterback can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you could throw at Patrick Mahomes where he's like, I don't know if he can do that play. No, he can do
you
everything.
can just draw it up in the dirt. He can go out and run it. I mean, no problem.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah, he is.
And those baseball players know how to slide. Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes know how to slide to avoid pressure.
That's true. Yeah.
Jaden needs to break tape on those guys to learn how to slide, especially those taller quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Get a local baseball coach to come out and work with them a little bit.
Like even Lamar Jackson, who's like one of the greatest athletes on the planet, just ask any NFL player. They voted him number one. When he tries to slide, it's the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen in my life.
He's going to hurt himself sliding.
It's like a jump slide. It's really bizarre. It's like, what are you doing, man? I don't understand. Can it be that hard? You need to show them how to do a baseball
Not
slide.
that hard. Little leaguers can do it.
All right. We'll come back and hand out some high fives. Big thanks to Ryan Edwards. And I hope you're enjoying your Monday. What's up with the weather this week? It was a little cooler this morning, Godfather.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope we're not getting into a premature end of the summer.
No. I don't like premature endings, all right?
Of course.
We need more warm days.
Stupid me throwing that word out there, premature. I should
Just
have known
saying.
better. I should have known better. It better stay a little warm for Friday.
And by the way, it's nice to have Mike Oakes at Master Control. I love Shacker, but less shenanigans with Oakes at Master Control.
Yeah, there's no sabotage going on.
Yeah, I know.
It's got to be some sort of mistake. I mean, look at me. I'm an attractive hand giving a high five.
It's time for Dwight and Chad to hand out their high fives.
All right, Godfather, we'll start with you. Any high fives you want to hand out?
Got to go with Bo Nix. Got to go with Bo Nix.
I got no issue with that. I'll hand mine out to Steph Curry for being on fire and destroying France. And screw France, by the way. Screw France and their softness. They're pathetic.
Did you see any of the closing ceremonies, by the way?
No, I'm not going to watch that. I saw enough in the opening ceremonies to know I didn't need to see the closing ceremonies.
Oh, a lot of entertainment. They had Snoop and Dre there.
Oh, your favorite.
Actually, they weren't there. They were on the beach in L.A. This is great. They had Tom Cruise. It was like he took the flag to L.A. Like he came from the top of the stadium down to the floor, had the Olympic flag. Then he jumped into an airplane and took off and then jumped out of it, handed it off to somebody else. They carried it in to the beach. I think they said it was Laguna Beach or Venice Beach or something, but it was actually Long Beach. And they had a concert there with Red Hot Chili Peppers and then Dre and Snoop. And I was upset. They went to the beach. It's L.A. They got Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is okay, but come on. Beach Boys. That's really L.A. beach stuff.
Yeah.
I know they're old, but prop them up and let them sing a couple songs.
I'd have no problem with that. Beach Boys have got a deep catalog of greatness.
You're not kidding. And they're lip syncing anyway, so it's going to sound great, you know.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. Well, next up we get what? Los Angeles?
LA's next.
What were you saying? The mayor? Is it the mayor? What do they want to do?
The mayor is
a classic.
a carless Olympic Games. The last time it was down there, they made a big effort to keep people off the freeways and cut traffic down. And I guess to a degree it worked. But you're not going to take people's car away in L.A. and the rapid transit, mass transit.
Carless Olympics.
Yeah. Well, their mass transit is terrible down there and not safe. Even I think the mayor has said that. It's not safe. And there's just not enough of it. You're not going to be able to get people to those venues.
Yeah. Thanks.
large
I'll
groups.
continue to drive my car.
Yeah. They said they've ordered hundreds of thousands of buses that they're going to borrow from all over the country.
Yeah.
Be down. Like those people in LA are going to ride buses.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Yeah, that's really going to happen.
I mean, come on.
I know it. Get serious. What are you talking about?
Yeah, let's just put on our, let's grab rainbows and unicorns and just live in a world where, hey, it's all magical and people just ride public transit everywhere.
That's right.
So ridiculous.
I know it.
One of the greatest days of my life was when I got my license and I was able to drive away
Yeah.
by myself. I'm going to keep doing that until the day I die.
Well, and they're trying in Portland to, eventually they're going to try to make a rule that you can't drive a car into downtown Portland.
Well, how's that going to work with deliveries and everything?
It's not. It's not. But they're going to try it. Supposedly they're going to have a place in Southeast where all the trucks go, unload it, and then they'll bring electric cars over to deliver.
That's one of the
downtown.
dumbest things I've ever heard of in my life.
Well, and people aren't going to do it. I mean, in the West, we're not used to growing up with subways, elevated trains, and all that. In New York, people do it because they've grown up with it. They know it. They depend on it, and they trust it.
I used the subway in New York exclusively because
Sure.
it was convenient.
We all do. Yeah. It's nice. It's convenient. You can go anywhere on the subway. But here,
If I had a train that would take me from Vancouver right here to the station, I'd ride it.
Yeah.
But they don't, and therefore I'm not going to. I'm going to
Yeah.
continue to drive.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, absolutely. And the light rail just isn't extensive enough.
Who are the geniuses that actually sit around and come up with these ideas?
I don't know.
I mean, seriously. Do they live in the real world?
No, they don't. And the light rail, the biggest mistake they made is not putting it underground or above ground because it's a traffic stopper, which they probably like because they don't want cars anyway. I'm not giving up my car. I'm not.
I'm not either. No, driving's pretty nice. In fact, this song would support that. I'm getting ready to take it to the streets. All right.
You sure are.
All right, big thanks to Mike Oakes for seamlessly running the show like usual.
Perfect.
He's like Bo Nix.
Yeah.
He's a technician.
That's right.
Big
He
thanks.
processes well.
Yes. Brian Noe for joining us on the road. We appreciate that. And Ryan Edwards for a Bo Nix update. Dwight and I are back tomorrow with the Rip City Drive at 3. Justin Myers back in after his camping trip. He'll have Rip City Mornings at 6. Have a good night, Godfather.
Same to you.